Hello and welcome back to the round number one weekend edition. I'm Michael, your host. Today I'm dedicating this entire segment to the latest news coming out of TNA wrestling and what it really says about the state of the industry. So, this past week, TNA confirmed that Tessa Blanchard, Tommy Dreamer, and Sami Callihan are no longer with the company. 3 departures, 3 different circumstances, 1 underlying clause, a major workforce reduction initiated by Anthem. So let's break down exactly why each person is gone. Tessa Blanchard, she chose CMLL over TNA. Tessa requested her release and TNA granted it. This wasn't drama or politics, it was a career decision. So on CMLL Informa, which you can find on CMLL's YouTube channel, she explained that TNA told her she needed to choose between being a CMLL wrestler or a TNA wrestler. Her life is in Mexico, she feels happy there, and she wants to be 100% with CMLL. And she already said that she reached the top of the mountain in TNA. So the bottom line is Tessa left because she's building her future in Mexico, not because of backstage issues. And the sources is CML Informa and Sports Illustrated. So next up is Tommy Dreamer. Tommy Dreamer, this is a mutual departure during TNA's workforce reduction. TNA publicly announced a company-wide restructuring, and Dreamer's exit was part of the shift. So here are some of the key points. TNA said it was a mutual agreement. Dreamer confirmed on Busted Open Radio that he was stepping away after 10 years. He said, and I quote, did his best, end quote, and needed a break. TNA said the restructuring was meant to streamline operations and sharpen strategic focus and profitability. And the bottom line here is that Dreamer wasn't fired for cause. He was part of Anthem's tightening of the company. Your sources are Busted Open Radio and America Online. Sami Callihan, he was released during restructuring, and he thought he was getting a creative job. So Sami's exit was tied to the same restructuring wave. Here are the key points. TNA released him from his contract. Callihan said he thought he was being called to be offered a creative position. Instead, he was told he was done. He had already retired from in-ring competition in 2025. His release came alongside Tessa, Steve Macklin, Maya Grace, and others. And here's the bottom line. Callihan expected to move deeper into creative. Instead, he was cut. And your sources are Yahoo Sports and Busted Open Radio. So the question is, are there more departures expected? The short answer is yes, absolutely. I don't think this restructuring is completed, but the pattern is already clear. Here's who is most at risk. Number 1, wrestlers who want to work elsewhere. 12 people have already left TNA in the past year. Some went to WWE, most went to AEW, which surprises people, but it's true. We've all heard the rumors. Mike Santana's contract is coming up. Leon Slater's contract is coming up. Both have been featured on NXT. Slater even got the rare opportunity to appear on WWE SmackDown and Saturday Night's Main Event. If you're a young wrestler and WWE puts you on national television, why wouldn't you want to go there? 6-figure downside, $10,000 plus per week on the road, exposure, stability, a global platform. And the same goes with AEW. Guaranteed money, lighter schedule, and the chance to make over 7 figures if you get over. Hell, Danhausen is projected to clear 7 figures in WWE after 2026. So yes, there are absolutely more wrestlers who want out, just like Tessa. Number 2, talent not central to Delirious's long-term plans. So Hunter Delirious Johnson has been in his TNA role for over a year now. And here's the truth. If Delirious doesn't have plans for you, you're vulnerable. And this is how he operated in ROH. This is how he operates in TNA. If you're not in his long-term creative map, you're not safe. Number 3, wrestlers on higher guaranteed deals. So a friend I consulted with made a smart point, and I agree with it. TNA may be introducing a new internal salary threshold. Anyone above that line, they're in the crosshairs. Anybody making mid-level guaranteed money, also vulnerable. This is exactly what companies do when they're restructuring. Trim the middle, cut the top, rebuild with cheaper talent. It's not personal, it's financial. Number 4, veterans with backstage roles. So Dreamer was the first, Callihan was the second. More will follow. Producers, agents, creative assistants, anyone with a salary and a title is at risk. Anthem wants a leaner, cheaper, more efficient operation. So another question that a lot of people are asking is who replaces Tommy Dreamer on creative? And this is where things get interesting. Now, the TNA creative structure isn't fully publicly known, but we know that Delirious is the head of creative and executive producer. Beyond that, the organizational chart is murky. So you had Matt Hardy suggest that former WWE writer Nick Manfredi, the guy who worked closely with the Hardys and Bray Wyatt, is being discussed eternally. Nick Nemeth publicly backed Road Dogg to take over the role on Busted Open Radio. Fightful Select confirmed that Road Dogg was being discussed as a candidate over at TNA in a creative position. So now we're in a familiar situation. When the creative spot opens, the same names get recycled, and this leads to a bigger issue, the creative crisis in pro wrestling. And here's the uncomfortable truth. This industry keeps recycling the same creative minds for 20, 30 years now, and almost no new voices ever break through. Why is the answer always Road Dogg, Bruce Pritchard, Paul Heyman, Tommy Dreamer, Delirious, Jeff Jarrett, Vince Russo? Like, why is the pipeline so small that the same people rotate through every company like a creative merry-go-round? That's because sports entertainment is a family business, not a mediocrity. A mediocrity rewards people based on abilities, talents, and efforts, not wealth or background, promoting fairness and hard work. Triple H didn't become the head of creative because he was the best writer in the room. He became the head of creative because he was married into the McMahon family, and because TKO had no idea who else could replace Vince. Even Stephanie McMahon admitted recently that her daughter, Aurora, was preparing to take over creative one day until the 2024 allegations involving her grandfather changed her path. So this is the problem. The next generation of creative minds doesn't exist because the industry never created them. Here's another question that people are pondering. Is TNA for sale? So here's the honest answer that I'll give publicly or privately. No, I don't think TNA is for sale, but it's being positioned like a company that could be sold. Now, let's be clear. Anthem hasn't announced anything. There are no public filings. There are no credible reports saying that TNA is on the market. And there are people on social media saying that from credible sources that they heard that TNA was on the market. But remember, these are the same people who falsely claimed that the WWE TNA partnership was dead earlier this year, which led to both companies releasing statements denying it. But here's the part that matters. The behavior matches what companies do when they want to keep their options open. They are reducing costs, simplifying operations, trimming payroll, consolidating roles, making the asset cleaner and more attractive. This is what corporations call strategic optionality. Not selling, not shopping, but preparing just in case. So, who would want to buy TNA? And the obvious answer is somebody with a lot of money. Because this would be a multi-million-dollar purchase, likely with debt attached. So, could a foreign promotion afford it? Probably not. Could AEW buy it? Unlikely. And I say that because I would think WWE would absolutely have first dibs on TNA if it was for sale. Now, could a private investor, a new Tony Khan type, step in? Absolutely. I think that's the most realistic scenario. Somebody who wants to run a wrestling company without starting from scratch. So here's the reality. Anthem is not actively selling TNA, but they're absolutely preparing the company in a way that allows them to sell if the right offer comes along. And that is not an accident. So here's my closing statement on all of this. When you look at Tessa, Dreamer, and Callihan leaving TNA this week, don't just see 3 departures. See the bigger picture. This is an industry that refuses to evolve creatively, an industry that clings to the same names, an industry that still hasn't figured out how to build the next generation of storytellers. Until wrestling stops recycling the past, it will never fully step into its future. This has been your round number 1 weekend edition. I'm Michael. Stay cool, everybody, and I'll see you next time.